Hey everyone, I'm Megyn Kelly. Welcome to the Megyn Kelly Show. The gender madness continues for more brands replacing females with males in their campaigns, including for women's swimsuits. Now we got to look at the bulge when we're just trying to get our bikinis. Okay, pardon me, but that's disgusting and no one wants to look at it. Biological men continuing to win over females in women's athletic events, and drag queen conventions being attended by children as the adults there say it makes them feel reassured to see the children there. Oh, really? Okay. Over the weekend, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre claimed that trans kids belong to all of us. All kids belong to all of us. Well, if that's true, then I want a say on how the trans kids will or will not receive medical, quote, care as a minor. My decision is they don't get it. My decision is they have to wait until they're at least 18 before we start chopping their penises off, their breasts off, and so on. Okay? If they're my kids, that's my decision, Karine. There's plenty to get to today, and we will discuss it with two of our favorites, Britt and Carrie Prejean Boller, former Miss California USA's moms and co-founders of The Battle Cry, which is a group that is working to fight back against all of this madness. Hey, subscribe to the show on YouTube and follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Look, you did the tough thing during COVID. You paid your people and pulled your business through the pandemic. And now doing the tough thing could qualify you for up to $26,000 per employee at covidtaxrelief.org. Government funds are available to reward companies with 2 or more employees who stayed open during COVID. This is not a loan, and you don't have to pay it back. It's money that's already been allotted. It is sitting there waiting for you to claim it if you qualify. The program's complicated, but no one knows more about it than the CPAs and tax experts at covidtaxrelief.org. You pay nothing up front. They do all the work and share a percentage of the cash they get you. Businesses of all types, including nonprofits and churches, can qualify, even those who took PPP loans and even if you had increases in sales. You did the tough thing for your employees during COVID. Let covidtaxrelief.org help get you up to $26,000 per employee. Visit covidtaxrelief.org, covidtaxrelief.org, covidtaxrelief.org. Ladies, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Megyn.
It's great to see you. I want to start with this. I've been thinking about you two a lot because I would say when you first started coming on the show and we started to discuss these issues, you were farther to the right. I don't know if it's not really a right-left issue, but you were more hardcore on this stuff than I was. And over the past whatever months, let's say 9, 10, I don't know. I mean, it's been a yearly thing, but I have moved so much closer to where you are. And I want to thank you because you've been voices in my ear that, you know, when you hear sense spoken, when you hear truth spoken articulately, it moves you. And like on an intellectual level, on an emotional level, you know it when you hear it. And it's like your eyes open, the sun comes up, and you realize, wait, I was wrong. You know, you realize that what they're saying is true. And what I've been saying, while maybe compassionate, et cetera, is leading to, it's part of the problem. It's part of the problem. So I just want to start by saying that to you because you guys, Kelly J. Keene, what Riley Gaines did, what happened to her, the Leah Thomas, all of it has helped really change my thinking on it. So hats off to you, ladies.
Wow, Megyn, thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Megyn. It means a lot to us.
Oh, well, I mean it. And I recommend everybody follow Britt and Carrie on Instagram and all the places because they have a lot of smart things to say. So let's get into it. There's so much. These stories are dominating right now, absolutely dominating the news. We've got women's cycling is all but gone to us. I mean, it's worse, I think, than women's swimming, right? There's a story every other day now about a trans person winning a women's cycling event. And the most recent, let me show the picture of the most recent one, where the person who won is a biological male, and this person gets up on the podium after it's all done and says, gee, I don't know where everybody is. I beat all the women. Why didn't they show up? This is someone pretending to be a woman. This is the details. It's called the CO2 UT gravel race. It was held on May 14th. It's a 100-miler. It's a century route, they say, that takes you 100 miles onto a special section of gravel right down the seam of the Colorado-Utah border. This is a biological man who says he's a trans woman who's racing. His name was, until 2 minutes ago, Wesley Mumford, and he was a sheriff's deputy. Now he says he's Leslie Mumford and has won in the women's 40 to 49 age group out of 14 participants and was 6 out of 33 for women overall. This is what he posts. This is my first gravel race of 2023. I'm beyond pleased with my effort. I placed 6th in the overall and the first race of the Colorado Summer of Gravel Series. So a lot of hitters were here. My effort also landed me first in my age group. Lastly, I have no idea why so many people bailed before the podiums, but they did. I swear I wasn't the only one in my age group. Does anyone here have any idea why the biological women, the women, bailed when it came time to celebrate Leslie Wesley's win?
I think that what we're seeing is, like you were just saying, Megyn, that we've been polite for so long. And we thought that being polite was going to somehow make this all go away, but it's getting worse. But as it gets worse, I think that women are becoming a lot stronger in their convictions and realizing what's at stake and saying, hey, look, if we don't protest this now, like, this madness is just going to, it's going to become this tidal wave that's absolutely going to destroy women's sports, which we're already seeing the beginning of that. I thought it was interesting too that Inga Thompson, she's a professional, or was a professional cycler before her
like a
breast cancer
badass
surgery.
one too.
Oh, she is amazing. She is amazing. She's become one of my heroes. But she had called on a protest right before this and said, when you hear that start bell, you take a knee. This is the way to send a message to sponsors, to coaches, to teams, to the public, that we're fed up, that we cannot have men dominating our women's spaces in sports.
This woman, Inga, just so people know, 3-time Olympian, Inga Thompson, 3-time Olympian, 10-time national champion, 3-time world medalist, 2-time podium finisher for the Women's Tour de France. And she tweeted out, the silent protests are starting. She loved the fact that none of the other women went up to the podium. The women are refusing to stand on the podium with the man. Well done. Riley Gaines tweeted, enough is enough. Empty podium except for the male, who naturally finished atop all the women in the women's category. Despite there being a non-binary / trans category he easily could have competed in. Can you believe that? There was a trans category, Carrie. This guy refused to participate in it.
They don't want to. They are narcissists. These are people that are very sick. They're sick individuals, and they get off from beating women. I mean, bravo to Riley Gaines, who is calling out, 9 female athletes. Where are you at, Venus and Serena? Where's your voice in this? Why aren't you standing up for all women? You know you wouldn't have a chance to compete if you had to compete against a dude. You know you wouldn't have gotten all of your accomplishments and trophies if you had to compete against a man. We all know that men have stronger bones and skeletal structure. We know that they have an advantage over women. So I love that women are getting the balls to stand up and say, no more. Actually, #women take a knee. That's what we're calling them.
That's right.
Can I tell you something about Inga? This is such BS. So Inga, because she's taking a stance, this is the badass female cyclist. She is calling for fairness in sports. And she's being punished for it. Okay, so there's this group, Cynisca Cycling, CYNISCA Cycling, and she was its director. I mean, like, you can't get much better in cycling, women's cycling, than this woman. And I know Lance Armstrong a little bit, and he's told me how great she is as well. Wow. So, I mean, she's the real deal. And they removed her as director because they said she'd gotten too political. That's what they said. We wanted her when she wasn't political, but this is political, as opposed to just standing up for women's rights. And she came out and said as follows, I am gobsmacked. I got taken off the team in late November when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I told them I needed to step down because I needed to take care of my health. I went through surgery and had a double mastectomy. I'm cancer-free now. I don't understand this retaliation. I don't throw wild stuff out there. I'm pretty measured. I've made it clear I'm not attacking this other trans woman who won, who's within rights to race. I'm attacking policy. She goes on to add, this is exactly why people don't speak up, because this is what happens when you do. I mean, if somebody like that can get booted off of this cycling board, she's right. It can happen to anybody, and it's meant to scare everyone.
Well, as a person who's been canceled before, I know you have as well, Megyn and Britt also. They can't cancel all of us. That's the thing. That's what people need to understand. Look at Bud Light. Look at what's going on. Look at Target. I mean, they cannot cancel all of us. So if we women link arms and say, you know what, we're doing this together. You will not erase us as women. You will not replace us. No, we're taking a stand. If we do it together, we will win. Watch what happens. It's happening now. There's a movement happening. And I'm hopeful. I really am. Women are getting brave. And we're saying we're done. We are done being eliminated.
This guy, Britt, who won the cycling race where all the women refused to take the podium with him, he won. I mean, it's so galling to me that he won in the 40 to 49 age group, 40 to 49. You know how hard it is for these professional women to stay in shape? That is, you're getting into the premenopausal, menopausal era there. A lot of these women have probably given birth to children and had all sorts of challenges. This is when the breasts start to sag. All sorts of stuff starts to happen. Trust me.
Yeah.
And yet they're gunners. They're out there practicing their craft, practicing hours and hours and every day. This guy who was living as a man up until 6 years ago, 2017, working in the sheriff's department as a deputy, as I pointed out, suddenly says, I'm a woman. I mean, talk about past male puberty, past everything. Mm-hmm. He married a woman. He had kids of his own. Then suddenly decides as a woman and goes and steals all their medals. How are these women? No wonder they're quitting. No wonder they're saying, forget it.
It's sometimes I'm like, I can't believe it's real life. And I think that that's where women are waking up to this. I think the public in general is seeing it for what it is. And that's why I keep going back to, we've been patient and playing nice for so long. And now we've come to a point where it's like, wait a second, like everything you just said, this actually is not fair by all the standards of fairness. This isn't fair. It's thievery. It's mocking women, and it's completely taking advantage of. So we're going to allow these minor exceptions from this subset of culture to come in and completely change the game and change the rules and change fairness. Well, I think that we're seeing the tide shift now to where people are like, it's not okay. I don't even care if I get canceled anymore. It's not okay. I'm not showing up to the podium. There was another cyclist who said, I can't remember now what her name was, but she said, I will no longer race. I'm done. And she was this mega athlete. And she said, As long as we have these trans women in the sports, I'm done. I won't race anymore. You have Ingen Thompson coming out and saying, take a knee now. People are fed up. I think we've reached the boiling point.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. I really think that we are sort of, with all those events that we were talking about, reached an inflection point in this debate where it's just not about kindness anymore. Kindness has gotten us having minors have body parts chopped off. There's nothing kind about that. There's only one solution now, and it's to fight. Riley Gaines gave testimony, I think it was yesterday before Congress, or it was Tuesday. It was Tuesday, before Congress. And she was talking about both getting attacked at San Francisco State University and about the underlying problem with Leah Thomas when they competed. And she revealed, I think for the first time, I hadn't heard this before, that they had actually changed the policy the NCAA had to make all locker rooms unisex. They did not tell the young women that. So, because she was complaining, and also revealed that Leah Thomas was walking around, this is an intact male. Will Thomas, again, up until the year before, changed to Leah, and it was an intact male. He has a penis, walking around the women's locker room in front of these other women. So Riley reveals that and says she went and complained to the NCAA about it. Like, why are we having to deal with this? And they said, we changed the policy to make all the locker rooms unisex. And as she said, that meant any man could have walked into our locker room at any time, not just a self-identifying female. Any man, any coach, any parent, any official who wanted to would have had full access to our locker room. And guess what? The NCAA never even told them about this change so that the women could take steps to protect themselves. And now I got to worry about some freak taking advantage of it, And I don't mean just Leah Thomas. I mean like some actual criminal.
Yeah, where are the feminists? I know that, and I want to start by saying, I know that there are feminists who are doing good work. Genevieve Gluck would be one of them. There with Redux. She's incredible. I learned so much from her, and she is a champion. I know that there are, but not like there were when my grandma was marching in the street. Where are they? Where are the groups of feminists who are so against the patriarchy that would say this, we're seeing the patriarchy come back now in high heels. Like, I don't understand the disconnect. Why the silence in large numbers from those feminists? Where are they? I think that we are the new feminists. I think that we look different. We want to reclaim femininity and sexuality and say we're okay being feminine and being sexual, and we're fine with that. We don't want to reject that and become androgynous, but at the same, we don't want to be oppressed by the patriarchy. And we don't want to be oppressed by the patriarchy wearing a costume. How degrading is that?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I've seen you guys tweet, women are not a costume.
No.
Women are not a costume. And yet they allow it. They allow it at every turn. You know, I wanted to ask you about this. Over the summer, I'm pulling up my screensavers or my screen grabs. Over the summer, I had on the show a guy, he's with National Review now, was with commentary, named Noah Rothman. He wrote a great book called The Rise of the New Puritans. And he's comparing the woke leftists to the Puritans, who are scolds about everything we did. No joy of any kind can be allowed. And he went through all these great examples. And it got me thinking about you two and this debate, because you literally will get in trouble now if you wear, let's say, a sari to prom. We saw that happen, as cultural, or maybe it was a kimono. Some girl was wearing either a sari or a kimono, and she got ripped for cultural appropriation. You will get ripped if you go down to the Bahamas or the Caribbean and you allow your little girl to get the braids in her hair, even though it's local women who would love to put braids in your daughter's hair and then, get paid for it. No, that's cultural appropriation. And in his book, he gives some more examples. It's well worth buying. I love, love, love Noah's book. And it's fun and it's a funny read. It's also disturbing, but it's got solutions. Okay, so let me just give you a couple of examples. He writes about this the couple of women who opened up a food truck following a trip to Mexico. I think this is in Portland, it was. There, in Mexico, they fell in love with the cuisine, asked local chefs to share their recipes and techniques, and brought them back to the Pacific Northwest. Soon enough, the phenomenon's origin story became a subject of outrage. The two women were accused by the city's identity-obsessed press of being, quote, white cooks bragging about stealing recipes from Mexico.
Oh my gosh.
Burritos. All right. He writes, in 2017, the Portland Mercury placed their names on an ignoble list of white-owned appropriative restaurants. Exclaimed the Mercury, quote, because of Portland's underlying racism, the people who rightly owned these traditions and cultures that exist are already treated poorly. The two women were accused of, quote, erasing and exploiting their already marginalized identities for the purpose of profit and praise. The online reviews went south for the business. The business dried up. The truck was soon forced to fold, not because the food these two women made was bad, but because it was good. So I guarantee if you would talk to anybody in Portland who got that truck closed down, they're going to say there's no such thing as woman face. That's not cultural appropriation or appropriation of any kind. And you're a bigot if you say otherwise. But how do they get away with criminalizing everything as appropriation except this?
One of these days, Megyn, the history books are going, I guarantee it. This is prophecy right now. The history books will record this time that we are living through in American history as the most insane time, period. Yeah. The fact that there is no standard. What is the objective standard that a man suddenly becomes a woman and it's no longer a costume? That is a question that has been buzzing around. Carrie and I have been talking about this. I actually talked to Bruce Jenner about this. What is
I want to get into
the objective? Yeah, we'll get into that. What is the objective standard? Because if there is no objective standard, then how do you hang that up in a society? Like, you have to have something that is objective. You have to have that magic marker. So what is it? What's the magic marker that a man becomes a woman on this day at this time, and now he can go and compete against female cyclists? Because if not, it's what you were just referring to. It's the food truck scenario. It's gender appropriation, which obviously I don't
You're
even
faking.
agree with.
And I want to say one other thing. I was a collegiate athlete. I played sports my entire life. The thought of having to compete against a man, the time that I put in, I was a national champion at 14 years old for softball. I now am an all-star coach for my daughter, who's 12 years old. I told my girls last night, I actually had tears in my eyes when I was telling them that I want to fight for you guys. I want to fight for you guys because you're putting all this time in. You're putting so much time and so much work. We practice 4 days a week, games on weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And all this is going to go to a waste because some dude wants to take your spot. I'm fed up. I am so done with this. We all have daughters. And if our daughters want to compete, they shouldn't have to compete against some dude who has an advantage over them. I am so done with this, you guys. I'm fed up. And it's so sad that people don't see it. But you know what? I'm hopeful. Like I said earlier, the tide is shifting. Women are being brave. Women are being loud. Thanks to strong voices like you guys who are brave enough to say, you know what? No, we're not going to play the pronoun patty cake game. Once you do that, you've lost. Once you say, yeah, that's a she, why can't she compete?
I know.
Yep.
It is a gateway.
Very powerful. Language is powerful. That's the gateway. We have to stop that.
So good,
All right,
Carrie.
Emotional. Sorry.
No, you're right. I feel it too. If my daughter, who's 12, she just turned 12 and she loves soccer, if she showed up and there were a trans girl, meaning biological boy, on the other team, I would not let her play. There is zero chance I would allow her to play in that game.
It's not fair.
Right.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
And it's not safe. It's also not safe. I mean, it's one thing if you're a swimmer and you're in the lane by yourself, but soccer, we saw that volleyball player, she came on the show, 17 years old, got seriously injured. And when the boy who hurt her found out that she was, seriously injured, did he call? No, never called. When she finally spoke out about it 9 months later to the legislature to say, I don't think we should allow this, the boy texted her, oh, it's so funny how I'm renting room in your head. This is who we're bending over backwards to accommodate.
The misogyny.
This is when women need to start marching in the streets, and that's what we're going to be calling on pretty soon. Women need to start marching in the streets and demand justice for all women, for our daughters, for our granddaughters. We cannot just sit back any longer, Megyn. We can't. We have to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not enough.
Can I tell you something, Carrie? I saw you guys are, I think, organizing one such march. And when I first saw, I was like, well, I've been asked to march in all these women marches, and I always say no, I'm not doing that. I've always said I'm a journalist and I don't march. This is just an issue. I'm fucking ready to join your march. I can't. It's about abuse of children. Who wouldn't want to march for that? It's like, I'm sorry. I know it sounds impolite. It sounds discourteous to the people who are struggling with trans issues. That's their psychological issue that we can sort of say, okay, I wish you luck on it. But we don't have to go any further than that. No further.
Well, you know
That's
what
right.
I love about you? What Britt and I love about you is that you're dedicated to the fight. You're straight up on the battlefield with us. There's so many people who it's just entertainment, Megyn. It's just the sound bites and it's just I got to say this to get the clicks and it's all about the money. No, we actually want to see change. We want to see culture shift and we want to see our girls stand a chance. I don't want to see my girls spend all this time and effort and for what? They might as well quit now. Why are we doing this?
Right.
It's
What's the point?
It's a self-destructive society against females and female athletes right now. And that's why I think it's unsustainable. I think that we've reached the point where we are realizing the unsustainability and the complete insanity of it. And that we have not created an objective standard. They want to put in the UCI, the cyclist, whatever, they're the oversight committee. They wanted to put in, that certain estrogen amounts for this amount of time for males, and then they could be considered a female and they could compete against women athletes. It goes against all science. There are peer-reviewed publications now stating that even prior to birth, a male, the impact of the hormones on a male changes their body long term. They will forever be a male. That we've come to a place in 2023 now where we think that just by some arbitrary, imaginative rule, a man at some point can become a woman. It's completely insane and it's a lie. And we're saying, hey, we're going to actually refuse to live by lies. And you can cancel me, you can call me names, but I will until my grave say that men cannot be women. And until then, we'll have a conversation of by what standard? What is the standard?
Let's talk about the dust up you had online with Caitlyn, Britt, because I found the whole thing very interesting. And this is where I get caught up. okay? Because I'll start with this. I see that no one thinks Caitlyn is a woman, right? Caitlyn has said that, she said I'm a woman in the past, but now she says, okay, I'm a trans woman. But Caitlyn's joined this fight on our side on a lot of these issues. You know, Caitlyn's speaking out against trans men, biological men in our sports, and some other issues, and like the medicalization of this issue for minors. And that's good for us. But I've seen you, I've seen Matt Walsh, I've seen others take on Caitlyn like, thanks, but no thanks. Like this, your position is not consistent, and you're really not that helpful to us in this fight because you're not living your life in a way that actually does support what we're saying. So can you explain what happened between you and Caitlyn, Britt, online?
Yeah, so I had tweeted out the other day, Bruce had said something, Caitlyn Bruce had said something regarding the work that he is doing for women, that he's going to save women's sports. And I just said, I am so confused, which I still am, because how is it that a man wearing women's face is going to suddenly save women from men wearing women's face? I don't understand. Help me understand. And honestly, like, I would love to have a conversation. I invited him onto our show today. I would love to have a conversation with him. I don't hate him.
I might still be able to make that happen.
Okay, let's go. Let's go, Bruce. I would love to have a conversation with him. I don't hate him. I don't think ill of him. I think he's incredibly confused. And I do think he's very dangerous because his voice has been so amplified in our culture and taken so seriously. And I see him as, with all of that in the background, a wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't want a man wearing woman's face to swoop in and save me. I don't need it. I don't want it. And it's the antithesis to progress. So my question to him ended in, I just want to know what the standard is. What is the standard that we are holding up in our society to claim that's the linchpin, that on that a man becomes a woman?
Because like, is it surgery? Is it a declaration? Is it a hormone? What is it?
What is it?
And let's not forget, Britt, Bruce said that he never identifies himself as a woman, which that's a lie. He says,
well, we have that. You pointed this out. Britt pointed this out in her exchange with him about his exchange when he came out as trans in his interview with Diane Sawyer. You posted the clip. I think, Carrie, you posted it in support of Britt. Here it is for the audience, SOT 1.
Are you a woman?
Yes, for all intents and purposes, I am a woman. People look at me differently. They see you as this macho male, but my heart and my soul and everything that I do in life, it is part of me. That female side is part of me. That's who I am. I was not genetically born that way. As of now, I have all the male parts and all that kind of stuff. So in a lot of ways, we're different, okay? But we still identify as female.
Go ahead, Carrie. What do you make of that?
I mean, I feel so bad for this man. And then to say that God made him that way. I mean, to say that he has a female soul, but then simultaneously telling Britt that, I'm trans. I don't say I'm a woman. Well, what the hell is trans? Trans is transitioning, right? You're transitioning from what? From what to what? So yeah, Bruce, you've claimed that you are a woman. You say that you have the soul of a woman. And on top of that, you accepted Woman of the Year, Bruce. Why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Fairness first, right, Bruce? And give up your trophy to Riley Gaines, because I think she deserves it.
Oh, that would be a good move. Oh, I like that proposal. But wait, let me ask you, because he responded, Bruce, Caitlyn, responded by saying, trans is a real thing. I want to get the exact quote. Said, Caitlyn writes, I'm so confused. She, meaning Britt, follows me. She and I agree on many issues, or so I thought. And now she's not in favor of me working to stop the radical left trans activists because I'm trans. Trans is real. I guess that's where she disagrees. What a shame. And I think I know what Caitlyn's saying here. It's that There are people who suffer from gender dysphoria, who have this genuine belief like they were born in the wrong body, whatever. And, up until about 2 minutes ago, it was classified as a psychiatric disorder by the DSM, the manual for psychiatrists. So they recognize this as a psychological disorder. So understanding that, let's say it still could be categorized as that, because let's face it, they only changed it because of pressure from the left-wing woke activists. It is a disorder. And let's say Bruce suffers from it and many others suffer from it. So what are we supposed to do about those people? Like, what if those people say, I'm suffering? Like, what are they supposed to do, Britt? You know what I mean? Like, just suffer? Like, not, because I get Caitlyn's point of like, I feel the need to dress this way. People get to dress however they want. They get to do what they want when they're grown-ups. But I'm with you on these issues. I also think I could be a good spokesperson to say what these women are saying is right.
Yes, but how do we in our culture treat anorexia? What would you do if we had an anorexic celebrity who was clearly anorexic and was participating in an anorexic lifestyle, was celebrated for that, was smeared all over all of the billboards, all of the shows because she was anorexic. And then she had the audacity to say, I'm going to save America from anorexia.
While still practicing
it. Any serious
Suffering
person would say it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You have your own demons you need to deal with, but you're not going to help us. You're actually going to harm the movement because what you're doing is regression. It's not progress. And that's exactly what we're seeing with the trans movement and those who are jumping in wearing women's face to say we're going to save America from women face. Something's not right. And whatever it is he is going with, I'm not a clinical psychologist. I do know that it was categorized as a mental disorder, like you said a half a second ago, until tremendous pressure. And I think that we're going to have to start to really reevaluate how we categorize these people and then how we amplify these voices and embrace them as female or male. Because the truth is, like Carrie said, there's no middle ground on this. You can't just say that you are woman one day and you're taking Women of the Year and you're standing on a podium creaming women, and then also have people in that subset that say, well, now I'm trans, this middle ground area, and I'm going to save women's sports from woman face.
I'm not as offensive as that group because I'm only saying I'm a trans woman. I'm not saying I'm a biological woman. You're saying there's no distinction, but that doesn't save you. You're doing woman face, period. It's done.
I'm saying there's no quarter on this issue. There are men and there are women. And I do not want a man wearing a dress and high heels to say he's going to save my daughter from women or being oppressed by men in dresses. The question remains, what is the standard that a man becomes a woman and it's not simply a costume and a mockery? And until then, to me, I don't want a man in a dress saying he's going to save my daughter from men in dresses.
This, to me, Carrie, reminds me of the Rachel Dolezal thing, where this white woman put herself in blackface and pretended to be a black woman for years, right? And once she was outed as a fake black person, she was universally condemned. I think she had a job with the NAACP. She was universally condemned. And, maybe she identified as a black person. Maybe she just said, I feel, a kinship. I feel like I was born in the wrong melanin. And I feel like, everyone was like, oh, no, it's no, hardcore. Oh, wait, do we have our clip, Steve Krakauer? Do we have our clip of Carrie and Britt? We made this clip out of you guys because I love it. I've said it a million times. I say it to my kids. I made them look at the clip when you said it on YouTube. Do we have it?
It's a no. It's a no.
It's a hard no. Hard no. It is a hard no.
Play it once more. I want the audience to really be able to soak that in. Go ahead.
It's a no. It's a no.
It's a hard no. Hard no. It's so true. It's like friggin' handbags have more protection, counterfeit handbags than counterfeit women. Like, why is it that we are not only like accepting, but we are celebrating the counterfeits. We're saying, oh yeah, come be on Bridal Magazine, a dude with a hairy chest and a beard. Like, how
That
are
happened.
we just, Bruce, accept Women of the Year award. And meanwhile, women are completely silent. I mean,
Yep.
I'll admit, like at the time it was like, oh, wow, that just happened. You know, like we weren't really awakened to all of this that's going on right now.
That's
you know?
important. That's important. I would say that that's a point in Jenner's defense as well, because in 2016, this still seemed like a very fringe issue where people were more accepting when someone was brave enough to say, I suffer from it.
In his defense, but also in like looking at it from a neutral perspective and how the history books will record it, is he was used to bring this into your living room. He was used to normalize this. So now he wants to pivot to say, I normalized it, and now let's go ahead and like protect women from it. Like I don't want your help. I don't want your help in that category. I think that he has great purpose in this world. And I hope that he can find that and be that. But I don't want him saving me. I don't want him saving my daughter. It's that simple. There's no quarter on
it's a hashtag part of the problem situation, even though his heart might be in the right place. Go ahead, Carrie.
This was like the gateway drug. You know, he was like the gateway drug into this, cult addicted culture that we're living in, where it's like, he kind of like wiggled his way in, right? Through the Kardashians. Oh, he's Bruce, oh, everybody loves him. Olympian, he glamorized it so well and everybody just accepted it. And we're saying, no, we're not going to accept it. And so
the glamorization, it continues, right? I mean, like that, you were just making that point that we celebrate it. It's not just enough to be accepting or I guess more, just compassionate about people who have this issue. We are celebrating it and we are spreading it. We are participating in the spread of something that's very dangerous and it's a very difficult way to live one's life. Who are we kidding? Take a look at that series, I Am Jazz, with Jazz Jennings, who was born a boy and they're trying to make him into a girl. And the mother's saying, I have to wake you up in the middle of the night to expand your fake vagina. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. So wait, let's take a quick break. We'll come back there and we'll pick up on the glamorization and anything else Britt and Carrie want to talk about. Stand by. Now that it's spring, it's time to get outside and enjoy your backyard. But does your backyard need a bit of a makeover? Start with the perfect centerpiece, a Michael Phelps Swim Spa by Master Spas. A Michael Phelps Swim Spa can transform your backyard into an oasis. The swim spa is an alternative to a pool with the therapy of a hot tub. Michael Phelps Swim Spas have a water current so you can swim, do aquatic exercises, and have fun with the kids. And because it's heated, you can choose your perfect water temperature and use it all year long in any climate. Michael Phelps Swim Spas by Master Spas come in a variety of sizes to complement almost any yard, even if it's a small one. And this is not a long, intimidating project. In fact, delivery and installation can take less than a day once your space is ready. Michael Phelps Swim Spas are 100% made in the USA by Master Spas, the world's largest swim spa manufacturer. You will love your Michael Phelps Swim Spa by Master Spas. Go to masterspas.com, put in the promo code MK, and that will save you $1,000 on a Michael Phelps Swim Spa or $500 on a Master Spas hot tub. Masterspas.com, promo code MK. So you mentioned the bridal magazine. Oh my God. With the man on the cover. It's from Brides Today, India. And they have featured someone named Alok Ved Menon, a gender non-conforming author and activist in traditional Indian women's wear with heavy makeup, various saris, and decadent jewelry, and also a chest full of hair, a beard, a mustache, and I think a unibrow. And we are supposed to be celebrating this as, I guess, the new version of femininity. I don't know if that's a fake breast or what's happening there on the side view. That really makes you get excited about your wedding, does it not? That's what every young girl dreams of.
Could he at least shaved on his wedding day?
We need to teach him.
But to your point of celebration now, it's absolute celebration. This is what they write. This is a Texas-born cover model, they say. And this person goes by they, which again is not available to you. I'm sorry, sir. They is taken. You may not have it.
Yes.
They were born in a sexist, casteist culture, again, from Texas. And this is not that forced them to rethink marriage and sexuality. Quote, I wish I could post an image of myself online without being inundated with hate mail. I wish I could be seen as a human being. I hope we are able to find beauty and pride in our differences. I hope we're not just safe, but well, and not just seen, but witnessed. Most of all, I hope that we can be free. And once again, it's like, well, am I free to put on a sari? Can I wear the outfit that you have on in that post? Am I allowed to do that? Is that because when we try to cross anything, we are told it's inappropriate, it's offensive, it's appropriation. But this man in a damn beard with chest hair that looks like something you'd see on John Travolta in the 1970s can go out there on the cover of a bridal magazine. We're supposed to celebrate, not say anything.
Yeah, it's so disturbing. I mean, we posted this picture on the Battle Cry, and the comments were just, I mean, the women were saying, how dare a bridal magazine? Think about it. A bride is a sacred, it's so sacred as a woman. You know, the day of your wedding, it's the best day of your life. And to see this dude who doesn't even say, I'm a woman. I mean, that was probably the most disturbing thing, is he doesn't even say I'm a woman. He says, I'm a dude that likes my chest hair and I like my beard, and I'm just going to mock you women openly. And guess what? I'm going to get on the cover of Bridal Magazine. I mean, can you believe that this is the world we're living in, you guys? Like, this is reality. It's not made up.
We just saw a guy win the Pulitzer Prize in literature for writing this long piece about gender. And this is a person who said women are defined by the ability that they can get effed. That's what makes a woman. If you can get effed, you're a woman. This person just won the Pulitzer Prize. And
for that essay?
This guy has a similar situation where apparently he has a now deleted Facebook post from his account in 2016 that read, quote, little girls are also queer, trans, kinky, and deviant. Goes on from there. Really? No, wrong. Little girls are not kinky and deviant, and they're not queer or trans. Right. It's a no. And went on to, it's a hard no. Your kids aren't as straight and narrow as you think they are, in response to bans on transgender women using female restrooms. Then he later tried to say, oh, well, somebody else authored that post that was on his blog, untouched until it became a controversy. But this is the person we're celebrating on the cover of the magazine.
I remember that, Megyn. Like, it's so funny when you started reading it. I'm like, I totally remember that controversy. I remember going down the rabbit hole on that guy. I didn't realize it was the same guy until now. But how in the world is he still, that's the problem. How is he still being amplified? Why, out of all of the people in the United States of America, are you choosing these deviants and then amplifying and exalting them? It's because we want this philosophy pushed so heavily that they will take entertainment and use it as their methodology to get into our minds, to get into our brains, to tell us that this philosophy is the new norm. And it's hate speech, like what he said, hate speech. Hate speech now is anything that goes against the lockstep narrative. So they will continue to pick out these people who are driving this philosophy and amplify them. And we have to get very comfortable being uncomfortable and saying it's an absolute no. Like, I won't accept it. I won't take it. It's a joke, and it's a mean joke. It's a cruel joke because you're selectively choosing an exclusive cult over the vast majority of people who don't buy it.
And also, I mean, what it shows is that he, like so many other people, not all, but so many other in this community, has some sort of weird sexual fetish impropriety going on. Like, nobody talks about little girls as kinky and deviant other than someone who is deviant. That's and sick. Who looks at a 7-year child and says they're kinky? Your girl's kinky and deviant. Let me add her. Let her celebrate me on the cover of this magazine, or let me perform in front of her at a drag show. That's why we're all fighting so hard. No, I will not. You're wrong about our daughters. You don't know shit about women or girls, but we do. And we will not let our children anywhere near you. And that's like the whole drag queen controversy dovetails just perfectly onto this. I want to get to that with you, but I want to stay before we go to the drag queen stuff on the celebration of these people, because I know you've been railing about what's happening for example, at Target. So for those who are not paying attention, what is Target doing?
Yeah. Britt, you want to take it or you want me to?
Yeah, well, because my mind's on Adidas and Target. Did you, before we go
Oh my
into
gosh. I know. It's like every day, Megyn, we're just like getting hit.
I know. It's true.
Adidas just went for their Bud Light award yesterday.
Oh yeah.
They had like, have you seen it, Megyn?
Isn't it a picture of a guy in a bikini?
It's a full video. It's a full video.
Bulge.
You need to go to _US on Instagram.
Oh my God. Oh my
Check
God.
that out, Megyn. We had to see it, so you have to see it. Sorry.
Oh.
I put the background music Highway to Hell on it because that's what it is.
That's exactly
Again,
what it is.
I see chest hair and a bulge. Women
much
do not have bulges in their bathing suits. Okay? This is, when you see a bulge in the bathing suit, you should run. That's not a woman. That's somebody who's got a different agenda on their mind entirely.
It makes it a little easy. But I said, real men don't wear bathing suits and real women don't have a bulge. So what the hell?
Yeah, so back to the Target thing. That's what Target is doing. Target is selling bathing suits for women that have bulges. I don't know any woman that has a bulge. Do you guys?
No.
Never met one.
No.
And
Maybe like
why
after
is
a terrible
Target
accident.
having little onesies with rainbow and queer and, trans. Why the Target of our kids? Stop targeting our kids, Target. Okay. Stop it. We don't want it. Okay. Moms shop at Target. We don't want to see front and center having to explain to our 2-year-olds what trans is.
Mhm.
Okay. That's the problem with these companies that are going woke, is that they think that, and think about it. They're not even targeting their target audience. I mean, women, mothers shop at Target. I don't know many women and kids, mothers want their kids seeing this crap. This is on purpose.
Look at this.
This is totally on purpose. And it's to target our kids. It's to hypersexualize our kids. And we are saying absolutely not. And we are Bud Lighting Target.
I want to know how many of those clothes that they're selling end up going back at the end of June. There's no way. There's no way they're making a cash cow out of all of that.
Not a chance. It's their virtue signaling. They are including, Target is, T-shirts for children that read, "Trans people will always exist." And apparently some sort of tutus for toddlers that are rainbow striped. They've got shirts that include naked cartoon people in a T-shirt featuring the pronouns she, he, and they. And now the activist group Gays Against Groomers, good for this group, is speaking out saying this is baloney. Like you, they're saying, take your business elsewhere. Like, good for the gays for speaking out, because Gays Against Groomers is that's the right word. You're marketing this stuff to little kids. You are a groomer. It is. It's an okay groomer moment.
A great challenge to people. I know it's hard to say never shop at Target. Okay. Public Square is a great alternative. I love them. Michael Seifert's a friend. I would encourage everyone to get on that. I also would encourage on a smaller scale for the moms who do rely on Target for their everyday, maybe just the month of June, give up Target. Send a message for just the month of June that you don't like it. You're not okay with it. That's how you vote with your dollar. And it's not impossible for 1 month to boycott and to let your voice be heard that way. So that I would encourage moms, that's a great way to get in on the battlefield and just say 1 month of June.
That's really good. And you know what else? Tell them. Write a letter, write an email, tell the store manager, say, this is why I'm doing it. So they know. But like the Bud Light, let me just give you an update on them. For the week ending May 6th, we got to have a lag in the reporting of sales. In-store sales of Bud Light across the U.S. were down 23.6% compared to the year before. The week before that, they were down by 23.3%. The week before that, it was 17%. It's getting worse. The scale is going down for Bud Light. Now, they're about to unleash some campaigns celebrating the military, which I think is absolutely cynical. I mean, this is just cynical. Wow. It's like, okay, use our men and women in the military to make your sales better, right?
Oh, that's sick.
I don't care. Even if they do it every time of, this time of year, they celebrate our military. No, you've forfeited your right to put them on your beer cans and celebrate them like you're on the side of America, because we know whose side you're on. You haven't apologized for what you did. And that's why your sales are down by 1/4. They're going to keep going down until you find a way to make amends. And even then, I'm not sure I can help you. All right, stand by. The ladies stay with us. We've got several more things to discuss. Don't forget, you can find The Megyn Kelly Show live on SiriusXM Triumph Channel 111 every weekday at noon East. The full video show and clips by subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Megyn Kelly. And today's Thursday. Go to megynkelly.com and sign up for my Friday email. It's always fun. It's got great clips from the week, and it's got a message from me to you. Junk science. That's what the doctor called many of those fruit and vegetable supplements on the market. Junk science because they use extracts of common produce department fruits and vegetables with few health benefits. But I want to tell you about Field of Greens. Get it? Like Field of Dreams, but Field of Greens. Field of Greens is different. They use the whole organic fruit and vegetable, not a watered down supplement. And it's backed by a better health promise, which I'm going to tell you about. Each ingredient in Field of Greens was scientifically chosen to support vital organs like heart, lungs, and kidney health. Others support immune system, blood pressure, metabolism, and healthy weight loss. Their better health promise is simple. The next time you're at a doctor for a checkup, if the doctor does not say that you are looking healthier than before, you get your money back. That's a deal right there. So let me get you started with 15% off, and you can try it for yourself. Visit fieldofgreens.com. Use my promo code MK at fieldofgreens.com and enjoy. By the way, just so people can find it, is the battle cry, is it .org.com? Give us the website. How do they find you?
And www.battlecryus.org or the battlecry.org, sorry. And then on Instagram and Twitter, it is the battlecry_US, and those are our primaries.
Okay. All right, good. We'll try to remember to just post it in the show notes too so people can find. All right. So before we leave the actual brands that are pushing this out there, there's also Anthropologie, which is using a man parading around dancing in one of their dresses. We have the video. Hold on a second. We'll get it on the board so people can see it. So yeah, so I guess this guy, here he is with an Anthropologie dress. Oh, good God. And now it turns into this very frou-frou pink dress. Yeah, okay, you go, guy. It's a male ballet dancer in a female dress made by Anthropologie, like a sky-high heels. And it's yet another brand. Now, this has always, I think, been a left-wing brand. It's like, it smells like patchouli oil in there. You know you're left-wing. So they don't care, right? Like, this is who their branding is. No one's going to boycott them. But it's yet another celebration.
Oh, we're boycotting them. Add them
we
to
are.
the list.
We're adding them all to the list at this point. Okay, I have a story for you, Megyn, that's going to make you laugh. Yeah. My husband, on the day before Mother's Day, was shopping. He took the kids out for me. He's so sweet. You would love him. We all got to get together sometime. But he was out. He took the kids to jiu-jitsu, and then he went out to do pre-Mother's Day shopping, and he FaceTimes me because he needed to know my size or something like that. And I thought he was still at jiu-jitsu. So, like it pops up FaceTime, and I'm looking at him. And at first I'm like, are those the little ribbons from jiu-jitsu? You know how they have the belt colors. And then I look closer. I'm like, oh my gosh, babe, where are you? And he's like, oh, nowhere. I'm just doing some Mother's Day shopping. I'm like, no, I need to know where you are right now, because what is that behind you? And he turns around on FaceTime, and it's a huge progress flag. It's the rainbow, it's the triangle, it's all the colors, it's the circle, and it's huge. It's like the size of him. I said, where are you? And he said, Lululemon. And I said, tell me there's an American flag hanging somewhere. He said, I don't see one. So I said, whatever you have on hold, you go put it back and then ask them, yes, this is it. This is it.
This is such a hot mess of a flag. Good Lord.
So he went up and he asked them, hey, where is he had tons of stuff on hold. He said, where's your American flag? I'm curious because I see that flag, but I'm curious where your American flag is. He said, we don't have one. And he said, well, I'm confused. Why do you only single out that subset of culture, but you don't have the American flag hanging? They said it's corporate policy. It's corporate policy.
That's Lululemon?
Yeah.
Lululemon.
Add them to the list.
I know I'm sad to say goodbye to my Lululemon, but if that's what I must do. I mean, I was already signed off Nike. Now we got Adidas, right? Now there goes Lululemon.
We're going to be
you guys
pretty soon we'll be naked and starving.
But right. but right.
But right. When it happened.
This is only going to help our cause. I really, especially with you two, not so much me, but seriously, this is only going to bring more people over to our side. Let's talk about Sports Illustrated, because you are former beauty queens and you understand the beauty business, what sells, what works, and what doesn't. And, I was on, Paul Murray's a friend of mine. He hosts a show in Sky News Australia, and I go on with him once a week and we talk about culture issues and so on. And he was raising this issue with me because Sports Illustrated, yes, they've got Megan Fox, who's amazing, very beautiful, but they've also got Martha Stewart, as he described her, an elderly ex-con. It's very, very kind of funny. I mean, yes, she looks great for 81. We should all be so lucky, but she's there. And then there's a trans person there. There's a biological man who's there, who's some sort of a singer who was with Sam Smith and his weird devil worship show. Kim Petras, who was Tim Petras, but now looks like this. This is a dude. And I said to Paul Murray, you tell me, Paul, but my understanding of the cover of the Sports Illustrated magazine is it has one main purpose, and that's for 15-year-old boys to spend some alone time with it in the bathroom. Like, I'm thinking this isn't the way to get that done. Thinking it's, once again, not knowing the function of your product or who your audience is. And it is a situation with the trans model, or whoever this person is, of a man coming in and taking over a spot that previously would have been given to a woman once again.
Yeah. And you know what? Britt and I both competed at Miss USA. We were both Miss California. And I couldn't help when I saw this, but think about the thousands of women who would have killed to have been on that cover. I mean, to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated is like winning Miss America or Miss USA or, winning another prestigious title as a woman. And I couldn't help but think of those women who saw that and thought, wow. First of all, he's not even in shape, number one.
Right.
Second of all, like, I looked at it and I was just like, oh, but like you said, Megyn, like these young men who are looking at this, like, imagine how they feel. Like, maybe they think, oh, wow, I'm turned on by that. Like, could you imagine as like a young man seeing that and being like,
and then you find out.
And then you find out.
Then you find out. It's like the crying game, where you're like, oh shit. No, this is like, it's a fraud. It's a bait and switch. And
that's exactly
you're right.
what it is. You just nailed it. That's the word that I kept trying to find in my head. It's a bait and switch. And I think that's the intention it's to confuse young men. That's like where we're at. Just confuse them. I saw him, Kim, Tim, and I was like, with all the Photoshop, he looked beautiful. I thought he looked like a beautiful woman on that cover. And that is so dangerous, because men who are going to see that, and a lot who aren't going to know that it's a dude, are going to, like you said, get bait and switched with it. And now they're attracted or did something in the bathroom to a man. Well, now what's that doing to your sexuality and your reasoning through all this as a young man? It's to completely confuse and destroy male sexuality and female sexuality. I think that's what the big picture is here. And also I thought, how embarrassing for those other three women that a dude just got shuffled on in the lineup. Like, you're just right on next to a dude. Like,
yeah, I had to make it the year that there's men in it. I mean, like, is that how the standards, how low they've fallen? I'm in the one where there's a dude in a bathing suit right next to me. And they did it last year too. They did it in 2021. Britt, you said something online that I saw, and it was such a good point. It was something to the effect of, this is intentional. They are actually trying to merge the genders. They're trying to erase the two gender narrative, and getting you confused is part of the plan.
Yes. Because if you can do that, you can destroy the family unit. It's what Hugh Hefner did back when he was doing his thing in the 60s. Well, he talked about how what he offered through the Playboy philosophy was a way for men to not feel bad if they hadn't taken a wife by age 20. Prior to Playboy America, you had young men seeking the virtue of husbandry, and they took wives and they had children and they were fathers and they were husbands. And that was, you've hit the gold standard in America. Playboy comes in and says, I'm going to offer you something different. I'm going to offer you something where you can be a bachelor forever. And it's that same philosophy that was driven in then as an attempt to sabotage the family unit, the family structure, and truly the foundation of America, we're seeing replayed now. That's what this confusion leads to. It confuses young boys. It confuses young men on who they are, their sexuality, what they're supposed to be, and it ultimately destroys and appends the family unit, and that destroys the fabric of America, which is completely Marxist in the ultimate game here.
The drag queen shows are one step removed from all of this. I mean, they are barely one step removed. It used to be something where, like, I remember my mom turned like 40 and her friends at her hospital had a dancer come over. It was like it was like a guy in a dress who then, did like a dance. It was a nothing. It wasn't sexual, right? It was like, now drag has become almost synonymous with inappropriate sexual content, bondage, the leather boots, the bulge, filthy words, dirty songs about the P word while they're performing. And they're desperate to do this in front of our kids, desperate to have access to our kids. This is how we first caught on to you guys. When you first came on the first time, I told you, I saw you two standing up at one of these PTA meetings or parent meetings, and you went off on them because they were trying to do this at your school and saying it would be family friendly. And you guys were like, what the hell does that mean? Is this family friendly? This, that, the other thing? Well, it's getting even worse. That is not a fight we're winning right now, though people are trying to crack down on it in states. I've been talking about the fact that Charlize Theron appeared at this video at this like drag queen benefit, like a telethon for drag queens. They're upset. They're trying to pretend that all these states are trying to ban drag. It's a lie. It's not true. They're trying to say no more drag shows in front of children. You want to go do it in a bar? You go, do your thing. You want to do it in a public library where little children are there with their moms picking out, books on Thomas the Train. Get out. No, you're not allowed to do that anymore. I'm sorry you need to be legislated like this, but you clearly do because it seems important to you. You're fighting for it at every turn. So that brings me to RuPaul. RuPaul has this thing called DragCon, and they are there, they're celebrating drag, and they're celebrating children in drag and also attending their drag queen show. Drag queen Frisbee Jenkins was there, another one named Lolita Page. Lolita Page said the children's presence was a nice reassurance. It's a nice reassurance that we're getting the access we need and the acceptance of our weird sexual performances in front of children. And here's just a little bit of what we saw there. It's RuPaul and other drag queens talking at the RuPaul DragCon, speaking to Reuters in South 6.
I've met so many kids today whose eyes light up when they see drag. And it just goes to show that they're trying to criminalize drag. They're trying to make drag queens out to be monsters. Or they're trying to make anyone who does drag out to be monsters. And we're not monsters, We just are celebrating our life and celebrating living out loud. And kids recognize that and they love it.
It's a nice reassurance. I feel like right now we're living in very unsure times based on everything within the laws, etc., even with the Bud Light campaign. But I feel like right now, this is kind of a reassurance that we are here, we are queer, and we are here to stay.
Do your thing behind closed doors in front of adults. Period. Get away from my kid. Carrie, what do you make of it?
Stop.
Oh my gosh. But see, I think, Megyn, this is where, like, back in 2008, 2009-ish, where we went wrong as a society, where we said, well, as long as it doesn't affect me, do what you want, as long as it doesn't affect me. And now look at how it's affecting us. Like, this is where we have to stop playing defense and play offense and say, you know what? I am so proud of Tennessee and these other states that are creating legislation to ban this stuff, because that's what it takes. That's what it takes. You look at these videos that you just played and it breaks my heart. It really breaks my heart, because I'm thinking, how sick and twisted do you have to be to want to perform sexually in front of children? Yeah. But that's where they want to go, Megyn. That's what's next. They
feel entitled.
Normalized pedophilia. That's the next thing. And you know what? It's not conspiracy. It's truth. That's the next thing. And and if we don't stand up, all the moms and dads listening, if we don't stand up, you are going to see a really, really ugly society for our kids and for their
future. I tell you something? Some of the products that were being advertised at this event where parents were willingly bringing their young children include, forgive me because this is graphic, the spiked collar company Bitch Fist NYC, the lubricant company Boy Butter, and the flavored anal spray company Holy, Holey Water. What sane parent would bring their child around those products? This is look, the Teletubbies are there to lure the children in, celebrating what? Celebrating Bitch Fist, Boy Butter, anal spray. What the F?
It's demonic.
Yeah, but this is where we were headed in the 1940s when Alfred Kinsey started publishing his tables where they were testing kids. Do you know the whole reason why they were doing these experiments on, and this is not conspiracy, this is truth. You can go look up table 34 and table 32 of Alfred Kinsey. The reason they did these experiments on kids to see at 6 months old, how many times can we get a kid to orgasm? It wasn't even a freaking orgasm. The kid was freaked out of his mind and they called it an orgasm, and it was labeled as science and applauded by the United States of America. And it changed the landscape of America entirely in the late 40s. But you know what? Why he was doing those grotesque, pedophilic experiments on kids was to prove to America that kids are sexual from birth.
Oh,
That's
God.
where we are all these years later from Kinsey America, is say this is the fruit of that bad seed that we let in our culture, and we let it grow, and we watered it, and we applauded it, and we said, if you're speaking against it, you're a hater and you're a bigot. Well, look where we are now. We have bit into that fruit, and we have said, yep, our kids are sexual, so we have to highly sexualize them, and we have to bring them to these events where you have holy water ass spray. Are you kidding me?
God.
Wake up, America. Wake up before it's too late.
That is grooming.
We're so close. We are so close to falling off the cliff.
So to your point, Carrie, that the way forward here is to fight, be on offense. You do have a real divide right now between the parties. I mean, it is clear. And I always go back to what Rick Grinnell said. He was on the show. He's a Trump supporter. He was in the Trump administration. And he said, we're talking about the mean tweets or whatever. And he was like, just stop it. Stop it right now. He said, you can't vote for these people. They're radicals. They can't tell you what a woman is. They're radical. They can't tell you what a woman. I'm like, I think about that every day. It's such a clear message, and he's not wrong. There is a very clear divide between the parties right now on this issue. I give you Karine Jean-Pierre, who's been pushing every far left piece of legislation on behalf of her boss to make it as easy as possible for kids to, quote, transition, have their penises chopped off, have their breasts chopped off. They'll never be fertile. They will never have an orgasm. All of this. They're in favor of all these treatments. Here she was speaking about it the other day.
And I've met a lot of parents of trans kids in the past couple of months who have told me these devastating stories, whether they're in Texas or Oklahoma or wherever they are, saying how they now have to seriously consider leaving their state to protect their child. And that's something that we have to call out and continue to be very clear about, that these are kids. These are our kids. They belong to all of us.
Oh.
No.
They belong to all of us.
No.
Nope.
No, I encourage everybody to go on to the battle cry and look at our recent video that we posted. I think it's 47,300 now detransitioners who have shared their stories. That is not compassionate. Wow. That is not love. It is hate. You should see these kids. They have to dilate their fake vaginas. They are in pain. They're going to be on medication for life, and a lot of them probably won't live long. That's not love. That's not compassion. It's not. I'm so tired of this. You even had Dylan Mulvaney the other day saying that he still struggles with anxiety and depression. Wait, I thought by transitioning makes you happy. I thought it makes all your problems go away. It's a lie. It was all based on fraud and abuse of kids, and now we're seeing the fruit of it, just like Britt said.
And for the boys, you put them on puberty blockers when they're young, so puberty doesn't come on. And by the way, if you remove puberty blockers, that's how you get 90% of the kids growing out of this. If you put them on puberty blockers, it slows down all the things that will revert them to what their natural sex is. Maybe they realize they're gay and so on, but you arrest the brain when you put them on puberty blockers. In any event, you put them on puberty blockers, then right to cross-sex hormones. And guess what? The little boys stay with what's considered a micropenis, a little boy's penis. It never grows. There isn't enough tissue to create the fake vagina. And now they're taking material from these little boys' colons to create a fake vagina. At least one kid's already died over in a Dutch boy because it's a very dangerous operation. And this is love. This is what she wants to do. As she says, if they're all our children, then that means the three of us are in charge of the one she cares about. And we say no. Okay, great. Yeah. I'm happy you're putting me in charge of your kid. No, the answer's no. Don't touch her or him before age 18. And even then, we could have some problems, but certainly not as minors. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and it's only the state's kids if the state gets what it wants. But then what happens when these kids, like Carrie said, you got to go onto the battlecry_US. We have these 2 videos. It's a black square with red writing. One of them, males who tried to become females, one females who tried to become males, and all the complications that they went through, just the scars on their arms because they farm arm skin to then invert the skin to make it like a pretend penis that then is ripe for infection, and you're a slave to the pharmaceutical industry for life after that. So for the state, for Jean-Pierre, whatever, she wants your kids up till that point, only to mutilate them and to commit that barbarity. But then who's liable after that? Who's holding those kids when they're sobbing because they made a mistake? Who is responsible for all their medical care for the rest of their life? Who's responsible, Jean-Pierre, for all of that? Because I guarantee you the state's not stepping up then. They're going like this. We did what we wanted. We butchered your kid. Now back to you.
They want nothing to do with the detransitioners. They pretend that they don't exist, which brings me to the New York Times. So the New York Times was doing some sort of fair and balanced reporting on the trans issue with kids, when it comes to kids and the medicalization of this issue. And then it got all sorts of pushback from the left. And then magically appears a new kind of article in the New York Times on May 16th. How a few stories of regret fuel the push to restrict gender transition care. That's what they call it, transition care. Chopping off the penis of a 16-year-old boy. That's gender transition care, you see. Letting a 15-year-old like Chloe Cole get her breast chopped off. That's transition care. It's not mutilization with a double mastectomy for a teenager. Chloe's been on the show. She's spoken out. She's a detransitioner. And they're trying to minimize her story and that of others. This girl has autism. She came on the show. She said, I'm on the spectrum. I went to my parents. That's what was wrong with me. I didn't need to have my breast chopped off. Now the New York Times has the nerve to dismiss her and others like her as basically Republican shills being used to ban transition care for minors in various states. Ms. Cole and fewer than 10 activists like her, people who transition and then change course, have become the faces of the cause. But most people who transition do not change course, the Times wants us to know. And then they go on to add this. Then they cite the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Medical Association, who say, affirm in transition. Those are disgusting organizations who have been completely co-opted by the woke left and do not care about children when it comes to this stuff. But here's the thing I wanted to ask you about. They talk about this one transitioner. It's somebody who transitioned, I guess. I can't keep track. They change, quote, change gender, then change back, then change back again to the fake identity. It's like, who the hell can keep up? And they point out that at one point, this trans person was promoting a, quote, fringe theory that asserts that transgender women, meaning biological men, are actually men sexually aroused by imagining themselves as women. So what the New York Times is calling a fringe theory is autogynephilia. We've talked about it on the show before. We've talked about it as well. It is not fringe. It actually accounts for probably most of these cases of transition. And I'll give you, we're going to have Helen Joyce on the show. I love her. Her book, Trans is amazing. But in it, she spends some time quoting people like Ray Blanchard, a sexologist, very well known, who says that the overwhelming majority of adult biological men who present with gender dysphoria are of the autogynephilic type. It means you get turned on when you wear women's clothes. It's a fetish. Mm-hmm. You get off on dressing like a woman. You don't have gender dysphoria. It's a sexual fetish. In 1987, he did a study and found the percentage of non-homosexual transsexuals with admitted autogynephilia is very high. The figure cited was 82%. She goes on in her book to talk about Michael Bailey, a sexologist at Northwestern University in Chicago, very well-respected institution. He cited studies by Ann Lawrence, American psychologist, sexologist, and former anesthesiologist who published extensively on transsexuality. She found that, reading here, hold on. Yes, here it is. 86% of respondents who said they were trans had at least occasional autogynephilic arousal, and 49% had at least hundreds of episodes of autogynephilic arousal. It is not fringe, and it matters because that's how you get Riley Gaines and the women of UPenn looking at Leah Thomas with his penis out and getting off. That's, if you look at Leah Thomas's tweets, we've talked about this per the Daily Wire. This guy gets off on dressing like a woman. He gets off, I'm sure, on people seeing him dressed like a woman. He got access to this women's locker room, and these women were told to go get therapy if they didn't like it. It's real. It's not fringe. And the New York Times knows it.
Oh, yeah. And I want all your listeners to remember the month of June is coming. We call it the month of blasphemy. That's exactly what it is. The rainbow does not belong to them. It belongs to God. It's God's promise. They don't get to steal it. It wasn't up for grabs. So for the month of June, I want everybody listening, if you go in a store and you see that flag, remember what Megyn just said. Remember that that company is pledging their allegiance to that. And do you want to support businesses that support that? That's a question that you have to answer. So here at the Battle Cry, we're challenging you for the month of June. We're not asking you to do it forever. We'd like you to do it forever. The month of June, stop supporting companies that push this cult on our kids. Stop supporting them.
You're right. Because let's face it, the LGB part of the LGBTQ blah, blah, blah flag, they've already won. They have equal rights. Talk to any gay activist. They'll tell you, we're good. We got it. We have gay marriage. We have everything. They had a very strong lobby. They were very well organized. They were very smart in their fights. They have their equal rights. And they're really, come on. I mean, yes, a random case here or there, but this is not a country that is discriminating against gays and lesbians writ large at all. It's about the T. And if they hang that flag, they are supporting the stuff we are discussing today. Stuff, I'm happy to say, Britt, you've got people like Ron Desantis taking active and important steps to stop. I am so happy with what he just did down in Florida. They have now banned mutilating surgical procedures on minors. I'll give you a couple things. He just signed 5 pieces of legislation into law. He's, by the way, expected to announce his candidacy next week. So it's on.
Oh, wow.
To protect children in the state from harmful leftist initiatives, quoting here from the Daily Wire, including mutilating surgical procedures, radical gender ideology in schools, and sexually explicit drag queen shows. This is amazing. This is like the best thing he's done. Outlaws the permanent... Right? It outlaws the permanent mutilation via surgical procedures of minors and experimental puberty blockers for minors. Grants Florida courts temporary emergency jurisdiction to intervene and halt procedures for out-of-state children. Creates a pathway to recover damages for injury or death resulting from mutilating surgeries or experimental puberty blockers given to a minor. Protects students from having to declare their pronouns in school. Yes. Expands parental rights in education by prohibiting classroom instruction on sexual orientation and gender identity in pre-K through 8th grade, protects children from sexually explicit performances in all venues, and threatens to fine, suspend, or revoke the operating or alcohol licenses of those establishments who admit a child into an adult performance. And then finally, expands youth access to sports, doesn't allow trans kids to play sports, and forces all public institutions to have separate bathrooms for men and women based on biological sex.
What a thought.
Unbelievable.
Hallelujah. Well
Right?
done.
I mean, good for him. And similar in Texas, by the way.
I love, same with Texas. I just saw Texas. It was late last night. And I always correct when these, the New York Times posted that Texas legislature bans transgender medical care for children. And so I corrected it and said another state bans the barbaric cult mutilation of children. We need to start correcting the language because you win and you lose with words. And I think also to Florida's applause, if states like California, where we live, crazy California, belly of the beast over here, are going to double down so hard to make a state a sanctuary for the cult and really a high temple for the cult to just butcher up children who come over, then those other states, they need to be going down even harder, like what Florida just did. I'm so proud of them.
Yeah. But back to the partisan divide, you've got the Secretary of State, all right, Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, tweeting out the following. This is on May 17th. On International Day Against Homophobia, biphobia, interphobia, as my nana used to say, and transphobia, we call for an end to harmful conversion therapy practices, including those that attempt to change a person's sexual orientation, gender identity, or expression or sex characteristics. Okay, the only conversion therapy that is happening right now is by Blinken and his side, where they take a gay boy and they try to make him believe he's a girl. They're the ones doing this.
That's it. It's exactly what we need to start saying. Yes. You're so right on, Megyn. That is conversion therapy. Taking a kid, butchering them to pieces, making them a slave to the pharmaceutical industry for life, however long their short life is lived, is conversion therapy. We are arguing for affirmative care. And that looks a whole lot different than the way that they're spinning it.
Absolutely right. And this administration right now is trying to ban as conversion therapy, talk therapy for kids who think they might be the opposite gender. That's the solution. That can't get banned. Exactly. That's literally the solution for these children, as England has recognized, as Finland has recognized, as Sweden has recognized. All of them have now moved away from this medicalization of minors and pushed talk therapy instead. Figure out, like Chloe Cole, whether this is just a person who's on the spectrum and having some social challenges, or anorexic, because eating disorders are intimately tied to this. We've had person after person come on, experts and individuals alike, and say that. Not to mention, parents going through a divorce, all the stuff that life throws at you, prepubescent or pubescent problems. That's the answer, not the solution, or not the problem. And our country is bass-ackwards when it comes to that under Joe Biden, who I don't even know I feel like he's out to lunch. He probably doesn't know shit. There's probably Anthony Blinken or somebody else, Karine Jean-Pierre, telling him he's got to sign on the dotted line to stop kids from getting the help they need. I'll give you guys the last word.
Megyn, we love coming on with you. Carrie and I say frequently, we are so thankful that you aren't just out here for the clicks and likes and entertainment. We value your voice and your logic and your reasoning and your questioning and digging deep. You are a force to be reckoned with, and we are so thankful to link arms with you and to speak truth into the madness and to ask questions that actually matter and to give no quarter on issues that you shouldn't. And we're just so thankful to be doing this with you. We love you and we appreciate you so much. Thank you for having us on.
Thank you so much,
Love
Megyn.
you too.
Love you.
Guys, I'm coming out to your march and I'm going to wear my hat. Hold on. Will you grab it for me, Abby? I'm coming out. I'm going to wear the Kelly J. Keene hat and I'm going to bring Kelly J. Keene merch for you because I think we all feel the same. This is the deal. Yes.
Yes.
Right?
I love it.
I love it. Oh,
I think you're going to look awesome in red. I'm coming.
You're so cute.
Yes,
Great
and
to see you.
everybody listening, pledge the month of June. Let's do this. Boycotts work. Come on, let's go. This is how we make change.
That's right. Buy Adidas, buy Anthropologie, buy Target. See you never. Okay. Bye, ladies. Thanks for coming on.
We love you, Megyn.
Love you too. Aren't they great? They're so great. Okay, so don't forget, check out the Battle Cry _US on Instagram. All right, they're well worth a follow. You'll learn a lot. And as you can see, their takes are always spicy, informed, and important. It's time for another edition of You Can't Say That, or Think That, or Do That. Oh, wait, this is America. This time I have a story for you about America's favorite, or least favorite, influencer, Dylan Mulvaney. Forgive me. And also about what comedians can and cannot joke about in 2023. I was joined by comedian Chrissy Mayer way back on this show in episode 127. She was hilarious. But as someone who is unabashedly a Trump supporter, she has dealt with social media censorship from tech platforms. But when she's on the road doing comedy shows, she likely thought she was in a safe space to make, well, they're called jokes, especially in a comedy club in Texas. But as Chrissy learned recently, some who attend a comedy show have strict boundaries about what is and what is not acceptable. Chrissy began to make a joke about Dylan Mulvaney and the year of girlhood. Here's how that went.
365 days. Why has it been a year of girlhood and still no tits? That's day one, okay? If I'm transitioning to a dude, day one I'm getting a cock. And I'm getting the biggest one you can find.
So, some laughter in the crowd. And then someone listening to her out there shouted, "He's a man," which Chrissy affirmed. And then a different female audience member shouted, "No, she's a woman." And here's what went down next.
Uh-oh. We have one of those. I figured. No, it's all good. We can all have different beliefs. It's okay. Some of us can believe in reality and some of us can't. Coexist. This is America. We should have different beliefs. It's all good. Fuck the transphobe! Is that the best you can do?
Did you catch that? Effing transphobe, shouted the very easily offended audience member who was on her way out of the show. Hello, you're paying for insults and irreverent comedy. That's why you go to see a comedian. If you want to see safe TV, watch NBC. Because you see, even if you are a comedian, if you think you're going to get away with joking about a very serious topic like Dylan Mulvaney, well, you can't say that. Oh, wait, this is America. Go, Chrissy. Team Chrissy. Let's get to some of your calls, but I want to kick it off with this, the MK mailbag, where we've gotten a ton of mail this week. You can email me, Megyn, at megynkelly.com, right? You can go to megynkelly.com and we can sign up for my email or email me. Karen writes in about their fake car chase. You heard the updates on this are absolutely spectacular. The New York PD has been shitting all over their story for the past 24 hours. It's so fun. Actually, I've got to give credit to the Rap who went to the police precinct that it covers the area where they claim their car chase kicked off. And it was the 18th precinct. And the on-duty officer there, who declined to be named, told the Rap, "Nothing happened. It's a bogus story. Don't believe everything you read in the newspapers." We know. We're aware. And by the way, the cab driver who took them on the last part of their high-speed chase that lasted 2 hours in Manhattan, he's also spoken out and said the following.
And what do you think about the description of this, the near catastrophic event?
Oh, I don't think that's true. I think that's all, exaggerated and stuff like that. So don't read too much into that.
As far as you're concerned, when they were in your taxi, did you feel like you were in danger?
No.
Did it feel like the paparazzi were being aggressive?
No. They were behind us. I mean, they stayed on top of us. That was pretty much it. There was nothing more, They kept their distance. It's just like journalists, just like everybody else trying to get pictures, make a quick buck.
Was it a good tip?
Yeah, it was great, man. 10-minute drive, $50 or that's what you asked for, right? You can't beat that.
So there you have it. You've got the taxi driver saying the paparazzi were not aggressive, that this was nothing near catastrophic, and the cops saying nothing happened. Would you move on? Don't believe everything you read in the papers. I tweeted this out yesterday. Remember when you were a kid and little kids used to suffer like one little small injury and they try to blow it up into a big, big injury because they wanted sympathy or attention or people to feel sorry for them? That's these two. They had a couple of paps who followed them and tried to get a picture. And by the way, as for their near catastrophic and they were disobeying the traffic laws, actually the reports out today via the New York Post are that the freelance photographers who were hired to cover the event are alleging that one of the 4 SUVs from Prince Harry's security escort was driving in a manner that could be perceived as reckless. The vehicle was seen blocking off streets. And in one video, it is shown being pulled over by the police. All right. And by the way, some of the photos show Meghan Markle smiling ear to ear in the midst of her near-death experience. They lie. And they've been caught lying yet again. So the MK mailbag, Karen writes in, imagine a car chase in New York City. Who other than a non-New Yorker would believe this tale of woe? I can barely go 2 lights before it turns red again. Same. Amy writes, Markle continues to try to align her story with Princess Diana, a chase that went on for 2 hours. Really? By the way, ABC News reported yesterday it was only 20 minutes. They were citing cop sources. It was 20 minutes. It wasn't 2 hours. These two didn't want the paparazzi to see where they were staying, so they chose to circle and circle and circle, and they're mad that they didn't just beg off and not get their picture. Would you just act like grown-up public figures? Again, what do you think it's like for Taylor Swift, who's way more famous than you are and more popular when she comes in? I mean, it's just absolutely absurd. What are we seeing here? What are we showing on the board here, Deb? Oh, this is the area. Oh, the New York Post has gone to the trouble of showing you the very short distances they traveled over their 2-hour car chase, which was near catastrophic. In any event, they're liars and you know it. Let me get to some of the callers because it's just too fun a day and there's a lot going on. Megyn and Harry, I'm taking your thoughts on that too, as well as crazy ass gender ideology. Let's kick it off with Brian in Arizona. Brian, hi, what's on your mind?
Hi, Megyn. First of all, I just want to say I love your show. I've been listening to you for a while, first time caller. So I'm gay, and with this whole gender ideology thing, as scary as it is, I think it's time for people like me to, I view the whole like trans ideology, especially what it's become, really antithetical to me being gay. Like, I'm not attracted to a person because they claim they're male. I'm like attracted to males. And I think it's just like time for, the L and the G and the B to part ways with the T's and the Q's and all the other nonsense letters that we just want to keep adding.
Yes.
Who knows why?
Yes, I totally agree with you. And I empathize with the position that organizations like GLAAD are putting you in. Because they used to stand for gay and lesbian rights. They used to fight for gay and lesbian rights. And somewhere along the way, they started endorsing all these other things that really, this ideology, the T, they really are doing conversion therapy on gay boys.
Yeah, they really are. And there's a point where I know there's many out there like me. We're timid by nature, but we need to really buckle down, follow the lead of our founding fathers and pledge our lives, fortunes, and sacred honor, and start growing the spine and standing up to this.
Absolutely. I love to hear you say that, and I hope you do it. I mean, I think within the LGBTQ whatever community, it is going to have to be gay and lesbian people who force the breakup and hopefully force reason, right? I mean, anybody who's not in that community, of course, gets dismissed as a bigot. But you guys have real power to say, no, we don't stand for this. They co-opted your flag. They made it into something abominable. You used to be kind of pretty. I don't know what's going on there now. It's absolutely awful, Brian. But I think you have standing, as we say in the law, to complain. I hope you do it. And thank you for listening. Thanks for calling. Let's go to, let's see. How about Veronica in New Jersey, not far from where I am and where I spend my summers in New Jersey. Veronica, what's on your mind?
Hello, Megyn. Thank you so much for taking my call. I wrote to you a while back, just a little note that, and I don't hear people talking about this, that there is an actual disorder called body integrity identity disorder. And it's a psychological problem. And it is when somebody goes to their doctor and says, you have got to cut off my right arm. It does not belong on my body. And it's a real thing. They actually want their right arm or their right leg or whatever cut off. And any doctor that would do it would be called a quack. So I don't understand why we're not calling this mutilation of children quackery. I just don't understand it. And I was a school nurse for many years.
No, you're absolutely right. I had this debate with Keith Abloh on Fox News in like 2010, somewhere around there. And he told me about this disorder that you reference here. Yeah. And he said, and he's a psychiatrist, and he said, if somebody comes into my office and says, I got to get rid of my left arm, please cut off my left arm. I remember the way he said it. He said, I'd say, no, brother, I can't do that. No, brother, you don't. You don't need to lose your left arm.
No, we don't do that.
We don't do that. And now we're not only doing it for grown adults, we're doing it on children, pretending that they can consent, that they have any idea what they're getting themselves into.
They have no idea, just like these puberty blockers, which we still give for precocious puberty, but you only give them for a short period of time. And it's to the girls to try to get them at least to 5 feet tall if you can. Because we know that if you give them too long, these girls are infertile. It's just so unfair. It's not right what we're doing. And that's my point.
No, thank you for that. And thank you for your time as a school nurse, as the mother of 3 kids. I appreciate what you do and how important it is. You're absolutely right. The thing with minors is abusive. And, Brian's got a point about what they're doing to young gay boys. And you got a point about what we're doing to little kids, male, female, straight, and gay. They should not be medicalized. And you go. I don't show these pictures on the show because they're too graphic. But if you take a look at one of these fake penises that they construct, it's an absolute monstrosity. It's an absolutely disgusting pile of flesh that they try to cobble together. It's sad. It's upsetting. And the thought that a loving parent would do this to their child, it's hard to even stomach. Let's go to Barbara in Pennsylvania. Hi, Barbara. What's on your mind?
Hi, how are you? I'm so fed up with this stuff because like even at my job, you have to sign an inclusion, amendment every year saying that, this hospital, we're all inclusive. We have to be respectful, all of that. And they troll social media looking for people who are against it. And then, technically you can lose your job if you say something out of sort, and they don't define what is appropriate. It's if it makes that person feel bad, then it's inappropriate.
Yeah.
What?
No, that's not the way this works.
And I have a child who is dyslexic, who is technically considered disabled. Okay. She asked me when she was like 7 years old if she could play in the Special Olympics. And I was like, no. Like, why aren't we saying, no, it's not appropriate?
Yeah, no, it's like gender doping. It's gender doping when it comes to the sports, right? These guys have an inherent advantage. The testosterone, yes, but that's not it. The bone size, the heart size, the lung capacity, the wingspan, the musculature, all of it. We could go down the list, like that deputy sheriff who transitioned. And a few years later, as a grown man, he's dominating in women's 40 to 49. It's baloney. Barbara, thank you. Thank you for calling. Let's go to, David in North Carolina. Hi, David. What's on your mind?
Hey, I've got a 27-year-old daughter who ran track in high school. And I talk to her now, and she's an engineer, number one in her class at a high-end university in North Carolina. And when I talk to her about it, she goes, we have to give them a chance.
I
don't know what to do about that.
I think she has to come to it naturally. She has to read more and be exposed to the unfairness more. Young people tend to be more left, and I think they sort of find themselves more in the middle as they get older. But it's probably no accident she's not running anymore, and she feels this way. Like the ones who are actually having to compete are in a much more difficult position. And, you see person after person come out, starred athletes, to say, this is unfair. Martina and others, she's got to listen because it's my daughter, right? It's Abby's daughters here who are going to have to deal with this, with all due respect, not your daughter. And so hopefully she can listen to some other sourcing and inform the opinion that way. But thank you for sharing that story with us. And thank you for calling in and listening. And thank you all for sharing today's program and all the programs with us. We really appreciate you choosing us for your news and your news commentary. I can tell you're out there and I feel your support, and I hope you feel it from me too. I want to tell you that tomorrow we have Dan Bongino here for his first appearance on the show. So much to get to with him. Looking forward to talking with him and seeing you guys all then.